Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I want to introduce the panel that is here to have our discussion. And joining us is Susan Jarboe and Reverend Linda, and I'm Kathy Cronin. And I will be leading the topic. But let's take a moment so we can get centered and be in the present moment. And that helps to just close your eyes, block out the things that are distractions, and take a few deep breaths. These are the cleansing breaths that just as you breathe in, you're pulling in the Spirit of God and you're releasing that breath and releasing any tension, any thoughts, any worries. We can let those go for now. And with this, we call upon our Heavenly Father. Dear God, we're thankful for this time, for this wisdom, and for these thoughts that we share. We open our hearts and our minds to the guidance of the spirits. Within our hearts, we know that we are truly blessed and we are always protected by the Spirit of life. Amen. So my topic today, it's from the Unity Booklet. Turn on the Light, The Timeless Wisdom of Eric Butterworth. And the article I'm reading out of that booklet was written by Reverend David P. Adams. He's the co-minister of the Unity of Independence, Missouri. And this is what he wrote about affirmations plus action. The writings of Eric Butterworth made up much of my first exposure to Unity teachings. His work has stood the test of time, revealing simple, not always easy, practical ways to invite the Christ presence to more fully inhabit where it already dwells. When considering this excerpt on stress, it is important to consider how things have changed since its writing. Technology has given us instant and continuous access to information. For those of us inclined toward stress, this can create an overwhelming deluge of input that can prove hard to navigate. Studies suggest that acute stress and its chronic cousin, anxiety, are an all-time high worldwide. The ongoing aftermath of the COVID epidemic, the seeming disintegration of civil discourse, war, and violence around the world and in our own backyards have many of us on edge. Perhaps it is no surprise, then, that the worry and fear we accumulate from news available at the touch of a button spills into our daily lives. Our minds become overloaded with these stressors to the point where releasing them seems impossible. Butterworth says the stress response actually frustrates the flow of life, and thus it is at least a partial cause of most physical ills, perhaps all of them. Research proves his point. Stress left unmanaged is shown to be a factor in a variety of health challenges involving the digestive system, the heart, and the immune system. Moreover, it can have a debilitating effect on our worldview, creating a mindset of cynicism and negativity. But the mind and the system it runs don't know the difference between something taking place and something being imagined. Learning to witness our thoughts as they appear is key, particularly during challenges or conjured by a sense of fear or worry. Finding ways to identify and relieve stress-causing thoughts is a method by which we can, over time and with dedicated practice, alleviate and potentially eradicate both acute stress and anxiety. Imagination, one of our 12 spiritual gifts, is a power tool for relief and release of stress. Affirmations are an amazing way to use this power tool, but I would add that they are only part of the process. As I see it, we can supplement the greater truth affirmations through added statements of intention and or action. These activate our spiritual gift of will and begin to make our imaginings manifest in our daily experience. Bear in mind that affirmations are most effective when they hold ideas with which our consciousness can align. If I feel greatly overwhelmed, an affirmation like, I am free from tension, stress, and strain, which may be true at a spiritual level, won't resonate with my current situation and may land as wishful thinking rather than truth. I find when dealing with deep-seated stressors or ongoing concerns that adding supplemental statements of intention and or action can bring the gap. Using the previous example, if I am free from tension, stress, and strain feels out of sync with the current situation, adding something like, and for today, I choose to, ... Invoke a way of being in a moment that lights on some course of action, no matter how small or simple the action may seem. So you fill in the blank with the dots. What I offer is an action-oriented extension of the mind and discipline of which Butterworth speaks when he says, no matter what happens out there in the world, or even on your doorstep, all that really counts is what happens in your own mind. I was really drawn to this reading because it's easy to affirm that everything is going to be all right. Everything's happening in divine order. And I affirm the good in the situations. But with this, it also says you have to add plus action. And so it's if this, then this, if I affirm this, then I will proceed with this action. And I recently had this weight loss program that I'm following had the what are the blocks that get me off? What's a habit that I have that I want to break? And one of my habits is snacking at nighttime. I'm sort of in the evening watching TV and I will snack. And so the thing says, okay, if I want to break this habit, what are the reasons? What are the reasons why I snack? And one of them was it's out of boredom. Another one is that I'm craving something sweet. And my other one was I'm just really tired and I'm eating to try to like stay awake to finish watching a show that I'm watching. So taking the steps to break that habit, it was like, so if I'm bored, then find something that gets me active. I can, read something, do a puzzle, something that keeps my mind stimulated to overcome. So if I'm bored, then I play a game. If I'm craving a sweet, well, then I can go get some grapes and eat some grapes, which would be healthier than going to have some candy or something like that. And if I'm tired, then just go to bed rather than saying, I want to stay up and finish watching this movie. So it was reading this sort of tied into that steps that the psychology of this weight loss program was trying to say is if you're trying to change something. So he talks about if you're in stress, then how do you overcome the stress? What is the action that you can take to release that stress? If you're stressed about something that maybe needs to be done and you don't know how about doing it, you can go, I'll take one small step of doing this. Or if you're worried about something, what's an action that you can take to relieve that worry? If the situation that's happening when watching the news, by watching the news, you get a lot of stress and anxiety and worry, then maybe it's like, I'm going to only choose to watch, you know, small parts of it, or just turn off the news and go to something that's saying. I know some friend of mine said, she shared with me that at nighttime before she goes to bed, the last program she'll watch is something that's lighthearted and funny. She doesn't want to go to bed having watched the news and or hearing the things that are stressed out there. The other thing that I do when I'm watching the news and it brings anxiety up for me, I bless the situation. I bless that the good is working, that I don't know what's happening out there, but the good will come from this. We will grow from this. We will move forward. And so I bless the situation for an opportunity to learn, grow, and develop. So sometimes when we can't know the answer to something, then bless it. And by blessing it, we've turned it to God. And sometimes in my prayers, I turn it over to God. God, I can't solve this problem. I don't know what to do about it. Can you please step in and take over for me? And so, whatever you have is remembering to affirm the good and take action. So, I want to open up the panel about affirmations and action and what they've done in their lives to overcome stress, worry, and anxiety. Susan.
Well, Kathy, you touched on several different psychological themes. And so I want to talk about a few of them that really struck me. And with your opening remarks, I was reminded of the time when films were just coming out. And so people would be in a darkened theater with black and white film, and a train would come rushing towards them. And the people became afraid. They jumped up, ran out of the theater. It's because the brain can't tell the difference between a real train and a film train when it's coming right at you. And I was thinking that our brains and our minds still work that way. That often when we're looking at things in the world or things are happening to us, we may not see them or understand them clearly. And you were talking about stress, and yes, we're all under stress. And as I think you said, depression and anxiety are worldwide phenomena. And you mentioned some good ways to overcome this. Imagination. One of the things I have found with my imagination is sometimes I can imagine the bad things. And I need to catch myself when I do that, uh, because those things haven't happened. They might not ever happen. And so worrying about them in the here and now is not a useful use of my brain time. So I need to monitor where my imagination takes me. Of course, with Unity, we believe in affirmations. And I just wanted to say that one type of affirmation that I think is really important is that of gratitude. There is always something to be grateful for, and we can thank God for that. And I like to take, if I have a negative thought, I want to counter it with a statement of gratitude. And I'm getting better and better at that. You mentioned statements of intention, and I just had to do this given that this year is 250 years since 1776. And there was a great statement of intention by Patrick Henry. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. And that's a powerful, powerful statement of intention from our revolutionary days. I was amused and I almost laughed when you talked about your habit of snacking in the nighttime, because that is one of my challenges too. And I think you gave some very useful suggestions on how to deal with that. Um, One of the things I just wanted to add when you mentioned, watching TV and then trying to go to bed right after, um, I wear those glasses that are meant for you when you're looking at a computer screen or a television screen. And I have found that helps. They don't uh, ruin my perception at all. They don't ruin the picture, but they do things to the light, and I can't explain why. And I have found those helpful to make the transition between screen time and bedtime. Finally, I liked your idea of reminding yourself that God is working in the world. I recently read a huge book called The Better Angels of Our Nature, and it was a history of violence in human affairs. And what happens is this: our time here is very limited. We have a finite amount of time. And so we're only seeing a slice of history. But when you think of the entire history of humanity, we're making progress. And that is like what you were saying, Kathy, good is working. And if you look at the way humanity has improved its nature over time, that just reinforces what you said about good is working. Well, I didn't mean to talk quite so long. You can see how this subject struck me. And so I will be quiet now.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing your thoughts. I appreciate it. Well, Reverend Linda.
I really enjoyed this topic as well. Of course, affirmations and denials are very important to me. But one thing you said, Kathy, that really resonated with me is using affirmations that I can really believe and attach to. Sometimes the affirmations that I use may not seem like affirmative affirmations to other people. One that I have been known to use effectively is whatever I'm going through, I've lived through worse than this. For me, that's a real reality check. Oh, yeah, that's true. I really have. And it kind of takes some of the stress and pressure off of my shoulders. Another thing that I really enjoy doing is visualizing how I'm going to feel when it's done, whatever it is that I'm doing. If I'm facing a challenge that I'm unsure of or less than enthusiastic about, I can affirm that it's going to feel so good when this is behind me, when I finish this, whatever this is. I also like to affirm and practice asking for help. I don't have to do this alone. Whether I'm going to just stop and pray about it and wait for a new perspective or reach out to some of the many incredible people in my life and say, hey, Let's collaborate. Let's do this together. Reminding myself that I am not all by myself, that it's okay to ask for help can be a great affirmation. So those are some of the ones that I use. Great topic. I'm so glad you brought this up. And I hope it's something we'll talk about frequently because it's something I need to be reminded of. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Reverend Linda. I appreciate your input. And I also wanted to add something that Susan had brought in hers about how the early movies, that reality, what we see, people are frightened by it or worry about it because the mind can't separate, is it real or not? And I'm one of those people that in watching certain movies, if there's a lot of action and killing and stuff like that, my mind takes it in as being real. And my husband goes, but it's just a movie. And I go, but to me, it's real, and it's sort of one of those things. It's like, I have to have the happy, type movies or something that's not out there in the things, because my mind can't simulate the separation of what's theatrical and what's real. But so I think many people may other feel that way too. And so I want to invite my panel back and want to thank you, everyone who participated in it. Everyone shared such great thoughts. This is a wonderful topic. I know our listeners probably can get a lot out of learning how about affirmations. Everyone brought something different perspective to it, and it's sort of like it is a great topic for continued discussions about affirmations. And I'm a big proponent of affirmations and actions. It's and I've shared often how we faced my husband being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and at that time, we took on the affirmation, and I live with this affirmation every single day, as I'm whole and healthy. And the action with that is, if what I'm doing, is that for me making me healthy? So I can say I'm whole and healthy, and but I need to take the action along with that. And that's why I shared the thing about this diet program and the psychology tip about breaking a habit, and how I go, something that's doing is like, is this really going to keep me whole and healthy? So I invite people that have watched this to share your comments and let us know how, any thoughts that you have on about affirmations and how they have helped you in your life, or the actions that have come out of it. What do you do to handle stress and worry and overcome those, and shifting that out, and how actions you can take to do if this is happening, then I can do this. And please share this with anybody else, that know that this is here to be helpful for people to find a point in their life of being reached and touched out. And we invite you to join us. We'd love to have you come and be a part of this panel, share your thoughts, your ideas, bring topic of interest to you. If there's a topic you want us to possibly bring to the panel, or something that you've read, please share in the comment section the book or a topic that you've read, and we can look into it and bring it into a discussion to the rest of the panel to share their thoughts on it. So with this, I want to say we appreciate everybody that watches. If you're not a subscriber, please become a subscriber. Hit the little bell, and that way you'll get notification whenever we have a posting up there. And we relish your thoughts and your comments, and we look forward to the next time that we can reach out to you, and then we send you off with the blessings that everything is working for your highest good. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.